This is Anil Kumar from CVP Engineering team. This is a session on subflow feature introduced in CVP release 10.5. Here is the agenda for this session. I'll start with the introduction to the subflow feature and following that various operations of subflows, arguments, return values, how to read activity logs when subflows are involved. During this session I'll also be demonstrating the various feature aspects on a CallStudio. Let us look at what is a subflow, why do we need it. Today the CallStudio application is basically a sequential flow of call flow elements, and we do not have a mechanism to effectively handle the repeated call flow logic. That means if I have implemented a business logic something like playing offers to the incoming callers, and later in my application I want to reuse it again, I have to re-implement the entire logic again by copying all the elements. Each time we use this play offers logic, the application keeps growing as we are duplicating the logic every time by copying the elements. So the solution for this is subflows, where we can define a call flow module to do a specific task like a function and invoke as we need. It will result in just calling the subflow instead of duplicating the entire logic. So the application developers can break the large applications into smaller modules and reuse the modules as needed. And also they can segregate the applications based on its function, thus building a modular application with lesser complexity. The application size will be reduced because of the reuse of the logics developed. The effective use of subflow will result in easy maintenance of the application because the complexity is reduced. To implement the subflow, there are 3 new elements added to the set of elements in the CallStudio. These 3 elements are subflow start element. This element is the first element in the subflow. This element will be automatically added to the subflow on creation of subflow. We cannot delete, copy paste of this element, and also if a page contains this element we will not be able to delete that page. Subflow return element is another element which we added. This is to indicate the subflow execution is completed and the control goes back to the subflow calling point. We should have at least one subflow return element in a subflow. Subflow call element is the element that is used to invoke the subflow. On execution of this element, the execution will jump to the subflow start element. Then the subflow execution continues. On completion of subflow execution, that is when it encounters a subflow return element, the control will be returned back to the place where the subflow is invoked. These are the operations possible on a subflow. To add a new subflow into an application, the user can create a new subflow that will be added into the application. On creation, a subflow editor will be opened which allows to edit the subflow with a subflow start element added to the editor. It will also create the required resources needed for the subflow. On a created subflow, other operations like rename and delete are also possible. The editing happens in a separate editor other than the call flow editor. Let me show a quick demonstration on how to create a subflow. For that, let's go to CallStudio. Okay, I have a sample application which is called bank application. So I'll create a subflow and add it to this application. So to do that, I'll right click on the bank application and select new and subflow, and then provide a name of the subflow here in the subflow creation wizard. So I'll provide it as announce offers. Complete that. Okay, this creates a new subflow, and then there's a new editor created. You see there's an app.callflow which is a main flow editor, announce offers.subflow is the subflow editor. So once the subflow is created, you see there is a announce offers.subflow on the navigation pane that will get added, and also subflow folder. Underneath that you will see announce offer. There's another folder which is created under that. To keep the things simple in this subflow logic, I'll just place an audio element and then do an announcement. So provide announcement message. So as I mentioned earlier, every subflow should have a subflow return element. Let me drag and drop a subflow return element. Complete the subflow. Okay. This completes the subflow creation. So now we have a new subflow announce offers which is added to the bank application. Let's see how to invoke this subflow. So I'm going to invoke this from the main flow. So the main flow is a simple flow where we are playing a welcome message. So I'll add an invocation to the subflow that we just created. To do that, I'll add a subflow call element and then name it call announce offers. Okay, so now we added a subflow call element and then called it as call announce offers, but we have not specified which subflow to invoke now. So let us do that. So you see the to do that we have to go to the element configuration configuration section, and then out of the list which is provided to select the subflow, select announce offers. So now we invoked announce offer subflow. So when the application execution hits this particular call element, the execution will be transferred to the subflow. It starts executing from the start of the subflow element, and then once it encounters a subflow return element, the control again goes back to the place where it is invoked. So this is about subflow creation. So I'll show you a couple of other things. In the elements panel, if you see, there are two elements which are added, that is subflow call and subflow return. So there's a third element which is subflow start, which is not available in the elements panel because this is created as part of the subflow creation process. So on this editor we will have separate pages for subflow like what we have for main flow as well. So these are independent of main flow pages. So I can add multiple pages here. So the second page added. So I can have the call flow logic defined here and then have a linking from the other page 1. So I'll be able to delete this page, whereas the page 1, which is by default added as part of the subflow creation, I will not be able to delete this because it contains the element subflow start. So once if that element contained in that page, we will not be able to delete that page. This is about subflow creation and invocation. Let us look at some design consideration of subflows. Here are the more details of that. Subflows can only be created in an application and we cannot create them standalone. So the invocation of subflows will be done within an application. We will not be able to invoke a subflow which is outside of that application. Subflow execution occurs in the context of main flow. That means application specific data will be accessible in the subflow as well. That is, the session data object is common for main flow as well as subflow, can be invoked the same way as it is invoked in the main flow. We can have a nested subflow calls. That means a main flow can call subflow 1 can call subflow 2, subflow 2 can call subflow 3. In this way we can have multiple levels of subflow calling, but we cannot have a recursive calling of subflows. That is, a main flow can call subflow 1 can call subflow 2 can call subflow 3, but subflow 3 cannot call subflow 1 because it results in a looping. We can also pass arguments and return values between the calling flow and the called subflow. This is needed to make the subflow more flexible. We can pass some information to the subflow and subflow can use that for building its logic more efficiently. And also, once the subflow execution completes, it can return the results of that execution to the main flow or the calling subflow. So this returned information can be used in the calling flow to implement its logic based on the results provided by the subflow. Exception handling is another feature in CallStudio where any error or events occurred during the execution of application can be caught and can be handled gracefully. These exceptions can be caught at multiple application elements. You can refer to the CVP documentation to more about exception handling. What we want to say here is that the exception handling is supported with subflow elements as well. That is, we can handle exceptions at subflow call as well as subflow start elements, and also any elements that supports exception handling which are added in a subflow, we can handle the exception at those elements as well. More information on arguments and return values. So the subflow parameters, that is arguments and return values, can be passed between a calling flow and the called flow. We can pass multiple parameters and also multiple values can be returned from the subflow. The matching of parameters and return values is done by the name and type of the parameter. At present we can support 4 types of parameters, that is boolean, integer, float and string. Let us see how to set up parameter passing between the calling flow and called subflow. So what you see here on the left side of the screen is subflow call element configuration, and then top right is subflow start element configuration, top bottom is subflow return element configuration. Here we are passing 2 parameters to the subflow, that is account number and then customer name. So this has to be exactly configured in the subflow start element configuration. So the name should match here and then the order do not matter. Similarly, the subflow return element configuration should have the return parameters to be configured. Here we are returning 2 parameters, that is result and last transaction. It has to be configured in the same way in the subflow call element configuration. So these elements will be part of the element configuration data. So the result is the data of the element, so it can be used within the flow, within that flow. However, it will not be able to. It's not accessible outside of that flow. Which are available in CallStudio, which are similar to the subflows. You might think that subdialog and groups serve the same purpose as subflows, but they are not really. Here is a comparison of them which would help to choose the right type of construct while developing your application. Subflows executes in the context of application where they belong to. That means various application specific data and session data are shared across the subflows of that application and the main flow. It works as a simple application with multiple modules, but the subdialogs are across the application and each will have their own context. Each subdialog application will have a separate set of application data created when they are invoked. If we use too many subdialogs for a single call, that leads to higher CPU usage and memory usage, which may lead into performance issues. Groups will allow us to group a set of elements. They are not modular like subflows. When we replicate them, all the elements are copied, which results in bulkier application. Another aspect to the subflow is the scope of the elements data. The scope of the elements data in case of subflows is limited to that subflow. They are not accessible outside of that subflow or in the main flow, which leads to the simplicity of the applications and avoids the programming mistakes. Whereas in case of subdialogs, the element data scope is for the entire application where the subdialog is programmed. But in case of groups, the data is shared across the application, so it is not the scope is not limited to the groups alone. You will be able to catch the exceptions inside the subflows. You can catch the exceptions at an element level where the error occurs. If you do not want to catch at the element level, you can catch the exception at the subflow start or subflow call elements. This provides a functionality that any type of exceptions occurring in a subflow can be caught at one place, handled at one place. For example, a bad fetch error thrown while collecting digits in a subflow, if the exception is not caught at an element level where the exception is thrown, then the exception handling logic looks for corresponding handlers at the subflow start. If the handlers do not exist, then it will be looked up at the subflow call element. If the handler is not found there as well, then it will look at the parent flow start. This way the exception handler lookup goes up to the start of the call element. If there is no handler found at the start of the call element as well, the default application level treatment will be done for the call. We refer to the activity logs to understand the various elements executed while processing a call. It will log the entries in the logs for every element execution. The log entry will contain element name and the action taken at the element and other information. This format remains the same for main flow elements. For subflow elements, the subflow elements names will be formatted and printed as subflow name dot element name. If you see the sample activity logs and the corresponding call flow shown here, the main flow elements do not have the flow name, but each of the elements that are executed in the subflow are added with the subflow name. If you see the subflow call element get customer information do not have any subflow name as it is in the main flow, but get customer information, the subflow start element, which has a subflow name, and the same is done for the rest of the elements within that subflow. What you see now is a sample demo application to demonstrate the feature. It is built based on a banking business flow. This application serves various type of customers. If you see this application, account verification is a common application logic to do the account verification of the caller. In old style of development, that is prior to 10.5, all the three places of account verification will be inline placement of the account verification logic. So with the subflow feature, so we can define a subflow called account verification and call it whenever we need it. You can also logically segregate the application based on the application logic. For example, savings account can be defined as one subflow. Okay, let us look at the actual application built on that concept. So for that, let's go to CallStudio. So if you see this application, the sample application demo, we have different subflows which are implemented to serve each type of customer. Let's go into savings account subflow. Okay, so here the first this subflow is not taking any parameters. It calls a verify account subflow. Let's get in there. So in this, we ask the customer to enter the account number and PIN number. So what we do is we pass that to the subflow. So if you see, we are calling validate PIN. This is the subflow call element. So we are specifying account number and PIN, which we got it from the other prompt. So it also returns a result back as well. So let's go into this subflow. So the same argument data is defined here as well. So let's go and run this application in the debugger mode. I'll just connect now.
Welcome to Sample Bank application. You are in main flow right now. Press 1 for new customers. Press 2 for savings account. Press 3 for current account. Press 4 for credit account.
We are in the main flow now, where it's asking for a type of customer. I'll select option 2, that is savings account.
You are in subflow within subflow. Please enter your account number.
Now we are in the subflow called account verification, which is called from the savings account subflow, which is called from the main flow. So I'll provide the account number.
Please enter your PIN for your account verification.
It's now asking for a PIN number.
You are in savings account subflow now. Press 1 to get balance. Press 2 for new offers. Press 9 to go back to main menu. Press 4 to get agent busy option.
Now the PIN and the account is verified, and then it came back to the savings account menu. So I'll just ask for a balance. That is option 1.
Balance for account 123,456 is rupees 2,000. Thanks for using our facilities. Goodbye.
This is a demo on the subflows. Now let us look at how to refactor some large applications which are already built. Say I have a large application and I want to break that into smaller modules using subflows. The first step is to create a subflow with an appropriate name. Next, identify the logic in the main flow that has to be moved to a subflow. Once the logic is identified, copy and paste the elements to the newly created subflow. Organize the subflow as needed for better visibility and logical segregation of the flow. Now delete the appropriate elements in the main flow and add a subflow call element and invoke the subflow. Repeat this delete step and adding a subflow call step wherever it is needed in the main flow, where originally the application logic is duplicated. Now let us look at how to copy the subflow from one application to another applications. So this needs some manual step, so I'll demonstrate on how to do that with an example. Let's go to CallStudio for that. So we saw this application earlier where there are multiple subflows. As I have another application called bank application, which is a similar type of logic. So what I have to do now is I want to copy this account verification subflow from sample application demo, this application, to bank application. So first let us go to the properties of that bank sample application and then find out the resource location of that. So let's go to that root folder. So this is the application root folder where we have multiple directories and also multiple files. There are files for subflows, multiple subflows. You see app.callflow for the main flow, account verification.subflow, and other subflow files. This is for the subflow which we want to copy to other application. So similarly, go to the target application and then get the resource location and then browse into that folder. Okay, so we have both the locations now. Now let's copy this account verification dot subflow to the target location. So now we have copied. Now go into the subflow folder. So you will have multiple folders for each of the subflows. So let's get in the target application as well. Okay, there is one folder called account verification, that is the subflow folder for account verification. Copy that to the target application. So now we have copied that account verification subflow into the target applications. So this was our target application, that is bank application. Let us refresh this. You see that account verification dot subflow is reflected here, and I can choose any of these and then try to see if that is also reflected here. See here, the account verification subflow is reflected. That is about the subflow copying from one application to another application. So let's look at some of the caveats that we have with respect to subflows. The application transfer element is not supported inside a subflow, and also the global hot links and hot event elements are not supported inside the subflow. These elements we should not be able to use. We should always use them in main flows. So the references, so to get more information on this feature and how to use other configuration information, you can refer to the CVP documentation, that is programming guide, element specifications, and user guide. Any of this documentation will have all relevant information, and also the CallStudio online help will also provide a lot of information on this feature. So this is all about subflow feature. Thank you for watching.